Welcome, scholars, to week 4 of POL450 Research Methods for Political Science. I hope we all had a good week 3 as we now transition into week 4. Week 4 will be a very busy week for us. Not only do we have a lot of information to cover, but it's also Thanksgiving week. So, with our short week and a lot of information to cover, let's get to and ensure that we have the information that we need. And let's backtrack quickly to talk about a few issues of the previous week. Earlier this week, or on Monday of this week, I sent out an announcement which had a narrated PowerPoint attached to it. That narrated PowerPoint talked about operationalizing variables. It was building off of our application exercise 3 last week, which many of us had issues with. So if you did not do well, or if you had any issues last week, it's critical that you watch that or listen to that PowerPoint to get some insight on operationalizing variables. In political research or our political science research, it's critical, or a critical element of us is to define our variables and to operationalize our variables. For many of the times, the information that we take for granted, defining wise, is a large element, and it's going to be a large element as we move forward in this course. So if you have not listened to that PowerPoint, please do. And to build on that, remember our application exercises, you have 2 opportunities to submit those. And the logic behind that obviously is to get a better grade, but more importantly than that is when you submit, your first time you submit that, you're either going to get instant feedback if it's all multiple choice or true or false, or if it's short answer, I'm going to grade it and submit it back to you. And the idea behind that is that you are able to gain the insight necessarily, or the necessary insight on the correct answers. So, case in point, on application exercise 3, many of us had issues with that. You'll want to revisit that, ensure you get the answers from my feedback, and resubmit that to not only get a better grade, but so that we actually have the correct concepts as we move forward. So as we move forward this week, we are going to start introducing you to some basic concepts of statistics, and we need to finalize a research question. So this week is a classic online education week. And what I mean by that is we have some chapters to read and we have some PowerPoints to listen to. And why I call this a classic online education week is if you put in the time to read the chapters and to listen to the PowerPoint, you're going to do excellent this week. If you do not read the chapters and you do not listen to the PowerPoints, you're going to have a lot of difficulty. Because in essence, what we're trying to do this week is introduce you to statistics. Take courses in itself, the course of statistics, the school of statistics, and condense it into a 1-week course in which you are going to get an overview of what is important statistically when it comes to research methods. Now, that's a lot of information that's condensed down, and for some of you, this is going to be new information in the world of statistics. So it's critical that you do the reading, and the readings this week are chapter 4 and 5, which we talk about the problems of measurement, and then chapter 8, which is going to be an introduction to statistics. There also is a PowerPoint lecture that's narrated. It's a fairly long PowerPoint lecture, and that's because Dr. Kircher, who taught me statistics, and who has helped me out a great deal when it comes to statistics, goes beyond what the chapter presents. So there's some additional information that's necessary as we move forward in the world of statistics, and that's what is a part of the lecture, the PowerPoint lecture. So take the time and the effort this week to read and to listen, and you'll do excellent. If you do not, then you're going to have difficulty this week. And remember, this class builds upon itself, and if you do not listen this week, or if you do not capture the information this week, you are going to have a lot of difficulty as you move forward. So we have our overview here. We also want to talk about our annotated bibliography. Remember, that's going to be due next week, and we need 25 sources. So it would behoove you to start working on that if you haven't. And if not, it's going to be quite the workload to do all 25 of your resources next week. I hope that as you have already done your research in this course, as you've researched your topic and your problem, researching your purpose statement, doing some background on your problem, that you are recording these references or these sites that you're going to, and you've already been working on this bibliography. In addition, as you operationalize your variable, many times we look at the official definitions of words. And what I mean by that is often when we are operationalizing terms, someone has already defined these for us. And those, if we do search out those definitions, those are great additions to our annotated bibliography. So now let's look at our two deliverables this week. we have our written assignments 4. So in our written assignment 4, we're going to be working on, or we need our research question defined. So within our paper, there's 3 questions. The first question is, what is your research question? Then I want you to spell out what your independent and dependent variables will be, and I want you to operationalize any terms within those variables that need operationalization or need definitions. I've added a written assignment number 4, an example, which builds upon the same one I gave you, or the topic that I gave you in week 3. So take the time to review. You can see how the research question is drawn out, how the dependent and independent variables are defined, and how we've operationalized terms that are necessary. And finally, we have our application exercise number 4. It's a quiz, and it's based upon the statistical knowledge and the concepts of validity and reliability. Remember, you can do this quiz once, get your feedback, and submit it again. And that builds upon our readings this week and the PowerPoint lecture. So you will have a lot of difficulty if you don't, but if you do, it will work out excellent for you. So that is a quick summary of what we have in week 4. As always, I would say if I had to summarize this class, it is a very quiet class. And for me, sometimes that's excellent because my assumption is that we are all doing well. And I would say that many of us are doing well from what I've noticed with our work. But it always worries me also, on the other hand, when I don't hear from you, because I wonder if some of you might just be hesitant or unclear. So once again, I must tell you that if I don't hear from you, I will always assume you're doing well. But if you have any questions, concerns, comments, especially as we move at this point forward, get a hold of me as soon as possible. But like always, I hope that we have a good week. On top of that, I hope that you all take a few moments to yourself and just reflect on all of what we have grateful for and what we are thankful for, especially on this Thanksgiving week. I know that it can be a hectic week for many of us, trying to juggle work, Thanksgiving, and schoolwork. But if you can, just take a moment to reflect on how thankful we are and how blessed we are with our health and with our lives. I know that always puts things into perspective for me. So have a blessed week. I look forward to reading your assignments this week. And if you have any issues at all, get a hold of me as soon as possible. Bye for now.